Have you ever felt like you're driving through life with a cluttered windshield? Smudged with anxiety, streaked with distractions, blurred by what everyone else thinks? Today, we're going to take the ancient philosophy of Stoicism and turn it into a practical set of tools to wipe that windshield clean.
So let me just ask you, straight up, is your mind clear right now, or is it cluttered? Is it full of mental noise? Do you feel like you're constantly just reacting to things, an email, a comment, some piece of news, instead of choosing your own way forward? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Feeling like we're controlled by outside events is super common. But here's the thing, it's not mandatory. And the ancient Stoics, they created a powerful system to help us take back the wheel. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at where this philosophy even came from. And spoiler alert, it was a place of extreme pressure. Then we'll break down the 3 core disciplines that are basically the operating system for a clear mind: perception, action, and will. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by turning this into a simple daily practice you can start using right away. To really get why this stuff works, we have to understand the guy who wrote the playbook. And this wasn't some professor in a quiet, comfy study. No, this was a man whose decisions literally meant life or death for millions of people. The author was Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome. And while he was leading armies on the frontier, he was also dealing with a devastating plague, constant warfare, and political backstabbing. The book we know as Meditations, that was his personal journal. Just a series of notes he was writing to himself to stay sane and keep his character intact. That context, that pressure cooker environment, gives this whole philosophy some serious real-world weight. And this, right here, is the absolute core of his entire system. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the foundational principle of Stoicism, what people call the dichotomy of control. It just means understanding the difference between what you can change and what you can't. You can't control the world out there, but you have total power over how you interpret it and how you respond to it. Everything else we're going to talk about flows from this one powerful idea. So that brings us to the first of the 3 core disciplines. This one is all about our internal world. It's about how we see and interpret everything that happens to us. The discipline of perception is really a skill. It's the practice of stripping away our first emotional value judgments. It's not about being a robot or suppressing your feelings. Not at all. It's about seeing the raw facts of a situation before your mind starts layering on a big dramatic story about what it all means. So let's see how this actually plays out. Imagine your work gets criticized. The normal gut reaction is to feel attacked, right? To get defensive. But the Stoic reaction? It's just data. You just look at it. If the criticism is on point, great, you can improve. If it's wrong, you just discard it. Because someone else's opinion doesn't have to become your reality. See? The emotional storm doesn't even have a chance to start. So the key takeaway is this: suffering isn't actually caused by events. It's a product of our judgment about those events. And if you really want to get a handle on your judgments, you've got to understand where they come from. This means looking into what some call our shadow. You know, those hidden impulses and biases that color how we see things without us even realizing it. By asking why we have a certain knee-jerk reaction, we bring those unconscious drivers into the light, and that's where we find real control. Okay, let's move on to the second discipline. This is how we take that inner clarity and build on it, taking it from our inner world out into the world of action and our relationships with other people. Stoicism is not a selfish philosophy, not by a long shot. Once you get a handle on your perception, the next step is to direct that energy outward. The discipline of action is all about our social duty. It asks us to act with purpose and integrity for the good of the whole. The goal here is to let reason, that clear perception we just talked about, guide what we do, not our passing moods or what we feel like doing in the moment. The principles here are pretty straightforward, but they are deep. Marcus Aurelius was always reminding himself that humans are social creatures, that we were made to work together, like 2 hands or 2 feet. This means your actions should be useful to others, guided by your principles. And this is a big one. You do your duty for its own sake, not for applause, not for likes, not for recognition. The reward is in the action itself, just knowing you did the right thing. And that brings us to the final discipline. And honestly, this might be the most challenging one. It's all about how we face the things that are completely 100% outside of our control. The discipline of will is the other side of the coin to action. Action is what we do. Will is how we accept what is done to us. Think of it like a sailor. They can't control the wind, no way, but they can always adjust their sails. Now, this is not passive resignation. It's not giving up. It's an active, willing acceptance of reality just as it is, so you can work with it, not fight against it. It's about finding grace when you're faced with the inevitable. And this quote from Marcus just captures the Stoic mindset perfectly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. It's like those rocks blocking the path can actually be used to build the path forward. Obstacles aren't dead ends, they're raw material. A setback becomes a chance to practice patience. A conflict becomes an opportunity for understanding. The obstacle itself becomes the fuel, the very path forward, a chance to forge your character. Okay, so we've got the theory, but how do we actually use it, right? We move from philosophy to practice by building what the Stoics called an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that can't be shaken. So here's a simple routine pulled right from Marcus's notes. First, start your day with purpose. Second, approach each task with absolute focus, as if it were the last thing you'd ever do. Third, when things go wrong, see it as training. And fourth, all day long, just keep coming back to that core question. Is this in my control? If it's not, practice letting it go. Now, to really sharpen that focus, the Stoics practice memento mori, which means remember you must die. This quote isn't supposed to be depressing. It's a tool for clarity. Knowing your time is limited just cuts through all the trivial nonsense and forces you to focus on what actually matters, right here, right now. And at the end of the day, that's the ultimate lesson. After a lifetime of war, plague, and pressure, Marcus Aurelius came to a simple conclusion. Tranquility isn't something you find out there in the world. It's something you build inside your own mind. It's a skill, not a circumstance. It is how you achieve that clear windshield, no matter what the weather is like outside. So here's the challenge. Don't just think about this stuff. Do it. Strip the judgment from one event. Perform one action based on your duty, not your mood. Willingly accept one thing you can't change. Just practice one deliberate act of clarity today.